The accusation was loud, it was personal, and it was caught on the court microphones for the entire world to hear, effectively accusing Coco Gauff's team of illegal hindrance and tactical cheating. When Belinda Bencic stopped play midway through the second set in Beijing to scream that she was too old for these mind games, she wasn't just complaining about noise. She was leveraging a specific unspoken code of conduct to rattle a younger opponent. Most tennis fans saw the viral clip on social media and thought this was just another heat-of-the-moment argument between two competitors tired of a long season. But if you look at the timeline of the match, the audio logs from the partially empty diamond court, and the specific ITF rule Bencic was trying to enforce, the reality is much darker and more calculated. This wasn't about noise. It was about a desperate attempt to freeze a server's rhythm, and it backfired in the most spectacular way possible, altering the course of the race to the WTA finals. We are going to answer 3 questions that the mainstream highlight reels completely missed. First, what exactly did Gauff's box do to trigger such a specific dirty tactics accusation? And was it actually a violation of the rules? Second, why did the unique acoustics of the China Open turn a standard cheer into a controversy that nearly defaulted a game? And third, how did Coco Gauff manage to weaponize this exact moment of conflict to mathematically secure her spot in Riyadh? Let's look at the evidence, starting with the moment the match broke down. To understand the severity of the accusation, you have to look at the scoreboard pressure. It is September 30th, 2025, during the round of 16 at the China Open. Belinda Bencic has just taken the first set 6-4 and is leading 3-2 in the second set. She has all the momentum and is controlling the baseline exchanges. Coco Gauff, sensing the match slipping away, steps up and hits a crucial drop shot winner to level the game at 30-all on Bencic's serve. It is a pivotal point. If Gauff breaks here, the set is back on serve. If Bencic holds, she is 3 games away from the quarterfinals. Immediately after the winner lands, Gauff's box erupts in cheers. This is standard behavior on the WTA Tour, especially for a player trying to claw her way back into a match. But Bencic does not prepare for the next point. Instead, she stops her entire service motion, turns her back on the court, and marches directly to the chair umpire. According to the on-court audio transcript picked up by the broadcast feed, Bencic tells the umpire that when the point is over, it is no problem, but when she is going to the line ready to serve, they do not need to cheer. This is where the narrative shifts from a noise complaint to a cheating accusation. Bencic is not claiming they are cheering during the point, which would be an automatic hindrance penalty under ITF rules. She is claiming they are cheering into her preparation time to intentionally delay her and break her concentration. She is accusing them of dirty tactics designed to freeze her out before she can toss the ball. When Gauff tries to intervene and clarify that the stadium is respectful, Bencic snaps at her, shouting that no one is talking to her and that she is talking to the umpire. She then delivers the line that went viral, screaming that Gauff's team is chatting and that she is too old for these mind games. Bencic used the phrase mind games because she believed Gauff's coach, Brad Gilbert, and her team were timing their encouragement specifically to disrupt her toss routine. But the audio evidence does not support this claim. The cheering stopped before Bencic assumed her stationary stance. Bencic wasn't fighting a rule violation. She was fighting her own shrinking lead, and she tried to use the umpire to silence Gauff's momentum. It is a classic veteran move known as working the umpire, but in this instance, it revealed just how fragile Bencic's mental state was at that moment. But why did this specific chair trigger such a meltdown? The answer lies in the architecture of the Beijing Stadium on a Tuesday afternoon. The Diamond Court is one of the largest tennis venues in the world, but for this midweek match, it was less than 40% full. According to Gauff's post-match press conference, it created a unique auditory environment that amplified every sound. Gauff explained that for her, the stadium felt silent so you could hear both teams clearly. In a packed stadium like Arthur Ashe in New York, the ambient roar of 20,000 people drowns out the player boxes. You can barely hear your own thoughts, let alone a specific comment from the opposing coach. However, in a quiet, cavernous stadium in Beijing, a single voice from a coach cuts through the air like a gunshot. Bencic, who returned to the tour recently and is known for her hypersensitivity to on-court distractions, was hearing every single syllable from Gauff's camp as if they were standing right next to her on the baseline. The acoustics turned standard encouragement into what felt like a personal commentary track. The ITF rulebook, specifically the code regarding hindrance, requires a deliberate act to distract the opponent. Cheering a winner, even loudly in a quiet stadium, does not constitute hindrance unless it extends well into the service motion. Bencic knew this rule. That is why she didn't ask for a point penalty. She asked for the umpire to intervene emotionally. It was a calculated attempt to freeze the 21-year-old's team into silence and make Gauff feel self-conscious about her support system. So, did Bencic's veteran mind game work? This is where the story takes a sharp turn. Immediately after the argument, Gauff was visibly rattled. She admitted in the presser later that she was frustrated in the next game and threw in 3 double faults. It looked like Bencic's tactic had worked perfectly. Gauff was serving at 0-40 on the verge of going down a double break in the second set. If she loses that game, the match is effectively over and she is out of the tournament. Bencic had successfully broken Gauff's rhythm by creating a conflict out of thin air. But then, something shifted in Gauff's demeanor. She said later that she just didn't like that comment towards her team and decided she didn't want to lose anymore after that point. Instead of shrinking under the controversy, Gauff used the anger as fuel. She saved the break points with aggressive serving and heavy forehands. She forced a tiebreak, and in that tiebreak, the pressure transferred back to Bencic. The shocking payout of this psychological warfare occurred on set point in the tiebreak. It was Bencic, the one who claimed she was too old for mental fragility, who double faulted to hand Gauff the set. The irony was palpable. Bencic had started the argument to protect her serve, and she ended the set by losing her serve due to nerves. This wasn't just about ego or a single match win. The stakes were massive for the broader season. By winning this match 4-6, 7-6, 6-2, Coco Gauff did not just settle a personal beef. She mathematically locked in her spot for the WTA Finals in Riyadh. If she had lost her cool during that argument, or if she had failed to save those break points at 0-40, her qualification would have been left to the mercy of results in Wuhan the following week. The ranking points from a deep run at a WTA 100 event like the China Open are critical. A loss here would have put her in a precarious position, potentially needing a semifinal or better in the next tournament to guarantee her place among the top 8. The fallout from this match highlights a growing tension on the tour regarding coaching in player boxes. Since the WTA allowed off-court coaching, the dynamic has shifted. Players are now constantly communicating with their boxes, and opponents are becoming increasingly paranoid about what is being said. Bencic's reaction is a symptom of this new environment. She felt outnumbered. She felt that the constant chatter from Gauff's box was a violation of the solitary nature of tennis, even though the rules have evolved to permit it. Her claim of dirty tactics was essentially a protest against the modern era of coaching, framed as a specific grievance against Gauff. It's also worth noting the specific history between these two. Bencic has always been a tricky opponent for Gauff, with a game style that takes away and rushes the American forehand. In the first set, that pattern was holding true. Bencic was rushing Gauff, forcing errors, and dominating the tempo. But the argument disrupted Bencic's flow just as much as it disrupted Gauff's. By pausing the match to complain, Bencic allowed Gauff time to reset, to breathe, and find a new source of motivation. It's a classic case of a player over-optimizing for conditions and forgetting that chaos often favors the younger, more athletic player who thrives on energy. When we look at the third set statistics, the difference is stark. After the argument and the tiebreak win, Gauff's unforced error count dropped significantly. She stopped missing the forehands and started playing with a level of aggression that Bencic could not match. Bencic, on the other hand, imploded. She smashed her racket, argued with herself, and looked completely drained of the tactical discipline that won her the first set. The mind games she accused Gauff of playing were actually happening entirely within her own head. Gauff simply played tennis. Bencic played the victim, and it cost her the match. The media reaction was swift, with many commentators siding with Gauff's resilience. The consensus was that while Bencic had a right to be annoyed by noise, escalating it to a cheating accusation was a step too far. It showed a lack of composure that is fatal at the elite level. For Gauff, this match adds another layer to her developing reputation as a fighter. Early in her career, she might have crumbled under the accusation of cheating. She might have told her box to be quiet to appease the veteran. But this version of Coco Gauff stood her ground, defended her team, and then let her racket do the talking. Belinda Bencic tried to use her seniority to police the acoustics of an empty stadium, framing standard support as a dirty tactic. Instead, she provoked a sleeping giant. The reality is that in modern tennis, if you focus on the opponent's box more than the ball, you have already lost the mental battle. Gauff moves on to the quarterfinals, and Bencic goes home with a smashed racket and a viral soundbite that will likely follow her for the rest of the season. If you want to understand the specific tactical adjustments Gauff made after this argument to destroy Bencic in the third set, specifically regarding her serve placement on the ad side, you need to watch the technical breakdown in our tennis playbook playlist right here. It explains the geometry that Bencic couldn't handle. Click here, and I'll see you in the next one.